Your shoes are back on, and your belt is threaded back through the worn leather loops. Your laptop is shoved into your bag, and your water bottle is empty, discarded by security. You look up, and there it is, a long, winding, brightly lit corridor stretching ahead. Perfume sits on the left, chocolate on the right, alongside sunglasses, watches, and expensive whiskey. Somewhere, far at the other end of this labyrinth, lies your gate and your flight. You think to yourself, who actually buys all of this stuff in an airport terminal? The answer is almost everyone. 70% of airport purchases are entirely unplanned impulse buys. That corridor isn't there because the airport ran out of architectural ideas or space. It exists because airports figured out a secret that changed the entire business of aviation. Airports do not make their primary money from flights. They make it from you. They profit from you walking, waiting, and spending inside a building engineered for those tasks. The common mental model is that you buy a ticket, and that funds the airport. You assume the airline pays the airport for landing, keeping the lights and runways operational. That is clean and logical, but it is also fundamentally incomplete and misleadingly simple. Airports charge landing fees based on aircraft weight, which makes up most aeronautical revenue. But building an airport is extraordinarily expensive, with runways costing billions of dollars to construct. Security infrastructure, baggage handling, and maintenance costs are massive, draining the airport's thin margins. In many cases, the aeronautical operation actually runs at a loss, requiring other revenue streams. If airports aren't making meaningful profit from flights, what are they actually making money from? In 2023, global airports generated $146 billion in total revenue. $54 billion of that came from sources having nothing to do with actual aviation. Retail, parking, food, beverage, and advertising account for that massive non-aeronautical commercial income. While this is 40% of revenue, it generates over 60% of total profit. The aviation side keeps the airport operational, but the commercial side makes it financially viable. The runways and control towers exist, financially speaking, just to get people into the building. Once you are inside, the real business of the airport finally begins in earnest. The largest single source of that commercial income is not the shops, but car parking. Parking accounts for 24% of non-aeronautical income, with nearly zero marginal cost. Retail concessions follow at 20%, where airports collect fees without taking any inventory risk. The most fascinating part isn't the money itself, but what it has done to architecture. The terminal you walk through is not designed to get you to your gate efficiently. It is designed to maximize the time you spend inside the commercial zone before boarding. This is documented, studied, and deliberately engineered to keep you browsing for as long possible. In the 1990s, a European airport redesigned its terminal so every passenger walked through retail. There was no shortcut, no bypass. The shops were not beside the path, they were the path. The result was a 20% increase in retail revenue, almost overnight, spreading the model globally. Since then, airports have systematically increased the walking distance between security checkpoints and the gates. Corridors are longer, not because they need space, but because longer corridors mean more walking. Walkways curve rather than running straight. As research suggests, passengers look at displays more often. The curve naturally slows your pace and draws your eye toward the storefronts on either side. Retail architects study the right-hand bias, as most travelers pull suitcases with their dominant hand. Designers position high-value products at the exact angles where a walking passenger's gaze will land. The floors are smooth and level, not for comfort, but to keep your eyes scanning forward. Even the lighting changes, moving from harsh security glare to warmer, softer, mall-like tones. This is a deliberate psychological transition from a zone of stress into a zone of spending. The industry calls the time between security and boarding the golden hour, where spending peaks. Gate information is often withheld until 30 minutes before departure to keep you circulating longer. If you knew your gate immediately, you would walk there and sit down, avoiding shops. After the anxiety of security, your brain craves the small reward of a retail purchase. Buying something functions as a reassertion of control after feeling powerless in the security line. Perfume and cosmetics are placed first because they are tactile, sensory products that invite interaction. They engage your senses at the exact moment your brain is searching for a distraction. You are trapped in a closed system where you cannot easily compare prices with outside. Your phone might warn you of high prices, but you are thirsty and trapped inside. Travel creates a treat-yourself psychology, weakening your normal spending filters and price reference points. 81% of passengers believe prices are too high, yet the system works regardless. The entire environment is constructed to produce impulse behavior in otherwise perfectly rational human beings. Every surface, scent, and delay exists to keep you spending money you did not plan. You are walking through an engineered retail environment, disguised as a place to catch planes. The success of this model lies in its ability to exploit the traveler's temporary detachment from reality. Once inside the terminal, the normal price references of the outside world vanish into thin air. They are replaced by a treat-yourself mentality that effectively weakens the passenger's usual spending filters. Even though most passengers are aware of the high costs and attempt to minimize their time, the environment remains far too powerful for the average weary traveler to successfully resist. The curved corridors, smooth floors, and carefully curated lighting all serve to slow the pace. These elements keep eyes focused on high-margin displays that line the path to the gate. This hidden logic reveals that the airport is not merely a simple transit hub at all. It is, in truth, a meticulously constructed retail machine designed to maximize every single transaction. By understanding these invisible structures, we begin to see that our daily environments are shaped. They are often shaped by unseen commercial forces that dictate our movements and our choices. This realization marks the first step in uncovering the complex, engineered systems that govern us. These systems govern our modern lives and influence our most hidden and subtle consumer behaviors. As we walk through the terminal, we are essentially moving through a carefully calibrated maze. Every turn is calculated to expose us to luxury goods we never intended to purchase. The ambient music plays at a frequency designed to soothe anxiety while encouraging slow browsing. The scent of expensive perfumes is pumped through the vents to trigger a sensory response. We feel a strange sense of liberation from our normal routines while waiting for flights. This detachment creates a unique psychological state where money feels less like a finite resource. The bright, artificial lighting mimics a perpetual afternoon, keeping the energy levels artificially high. Retailers know that a tired traveler is a vulnerable traveler, prone to impulsive, emotional spending. They place high-margin items at eye level to ensure maximum visibility for every passing person. We believe we are choosing our own path, but we are actually following a script. This script was written by architects who specialize in the science of human retail behavior. The airport is a laboratory where our habits are studied, analyzed, and eventually exploited daily. We are the subjects of a grand experiment in consumer psychology and spatial design manipulation. The architecture itself acts as a silent salesperson, guiding us toward the checkout counters constantly. We feel the pressure to conform to the environment, adopting the habits of other shoppers. The social proof of seeing others buy coffee or gifts reinforces our own purchasing desires. It is a cycle of consumption that feels natural, even though it is entirely artificial. We lose track of time, distracted by the shiny displays and the promise of luxury. The terminal is designed to make us forget the stress of the security checkpoint ordeal. We seek comfort in products, believing that a purchase will reward us for our patience. This emotional connection to the shopping experience is the ultimate goal of the airport designers. They have mastered the art of turning a transit space into a lucrative retail destination. The profit margins on these sales are significantly higher than those found in city centers. The airport operators take a cut of every single transaction made within their vast walls. It is a symbiotic relationship between the airport and the high-end retail brands involved. We are merely the fuel that keeps this massive commercial engine running smoothly every day. Once we recognize these patterns, the illusion of the airport as a simple hub fades. We see the walls, the lights, and the corridors for what they truly represent today. They are the physical manifestations of a strategy to extract value from every single traveler. The journey is no longer just about getting from one place to another destination safely. It is about navigating a gauntlet of temptation that has been engineered for our wallets. We must remain vigilant, aware of the forces that seek to influence our unconscious decisions. Only by staying conscious can we resist the pull of the retail machine around us. The next time you walk through the terminal, look closely at the design choices made. Notice how the layout forces you to walk past the most expensive stores every time. Observe the way the lighting highlights specific products while leaving other areas in the shadows. Consider how the lack of seating in certain areas pushes you toward the cafe tables. These are not accidents, but deliberate choices made to influence your behavior and your spending. The modern airport is a masterclass in the subtle art of commercial persuasion and control. We are part of a larger system that prioritizes profit over the comfort of passengers. Understanding this reality is the first step toward reclaiming our agency in these public spaces. The airport is a mirror reflecting the hidden priorities of our modern, consumer-driven global society. By seeing the architecture for what it is, we finally begin to see the truth.